The impossible request? The emergency klaxons aboard the ZDF Constellation echoed through the bridge like the death knells of a dying civilization. Admiral Elena Thorne stood rigid at the command platform, her silver-blue skin pale with stress, as she watched the tactical display paint their situation in the harsh reds of impending doom. 27 Scarran raider ships had descended upon the Vega mining colonies like a plague of metal locusts, their bioorganic hulls pulsing with malevolent energy. "Status report," Thorne commanded, her voice steady despite the chaos erupting around her. Her pointed ears twitched as explosions from the planet's surface reached them even through the vacuum of space. "Admiral, Colony 7 is completely dark. Colony 5 is requesting immediate evacuation," reported Lieutenant Commander Kess, her tentacles dancing across multiple control surfaces simultaneously. "The civilian transports are loaded, but they need escort coverage to reach the jump point." Thorne's violet eyes narrowed as she studied the display. Her fleet consisted of 3 heavy cruisers, 5 destroyers, and 8 corvettes. Against the Scarran raiding party, it should have been adequate. Should have been. But the insectoid warriors had brought something new to the party, ships that seemed to adapt to their weapons in real time, hulls that regenerated damage faster than conventional weapons could inflict it. "Ma'am, the Scarran command vessel is broadcasting," announced Communications Officer Yorl, his crystalline structure flickering with nervous energy. "It's Commander Vex. He's demanding we surrender the civilian ships in exchange for our lives." Admiral, Thorne had heard of Commander Vex. The Scarran had made him a legend among raider commanders, a tactical genius who had never lost a battle, never left survivors, and never showed mercy. His ship, the Bone Render, was said to be grown from the hull fragments of 1,000 defeated vessels, each one adding to its strength and hunger. "Tell Commander Vex he can take his offer and recycle it through his ship's waste processors," Thorne replied coldly. "All ships, maintain escort formation around the civilian transports. We're getting every last colonist out of here." But even as she gave the orders, Thorne knew the mathematics of the situation. The Scarran ships were faster, stronger, and more numerous. Her vessels were already showing damage from the initial engagement, and the enemy was just getting warmed up. The civilian transports were lumbering cargo haulers, barely capable of light speed, let alone the kind of evasive maneuvers needed to avoid Scarran biomissiles. "Admiral, the Retribution is reporting critical damage to her main engines," reported the tactical officer. "Captain Gorvac requests permission to fall back and conduct repairs." Thorne's jaw clenched. The Retribution was one of her heavy cruisers, the backbone of her formation. Without her firepower, the escort formation would collapse like a house of cards. But if she ordered the ship to stay in formation, they would lose her anyway when the engines finally gave out. "Granted. Tell Captain Gorvac to get his people out of there and regroup with the reserve squadron." The next 20 minutes were a masterclass in controlled retreat under fire. Thorne's fleet fought a running battle toward the system's edge, trading space for time while the civilian transports crawled toward safety. But the Scarran were relentless, and their adaptive technology was learning. What had been close fights were becoming massacres. "Ma'am, we're losing the Defiance," called out the tactical officer, his voice cracking with stress. "Direct hit to her reactor core. She's going critical." Through the viewport, Admiral Thorne watched the destroyer Defiance die in a brief, brilliant star of unleashed energy. 43 crew members gone in an instant. How many more would follow before this was over? "Admiral, the civilian convoy is still 6 hours from the jump point," reported Lieutenant Commander Kess. "At current engagement rates, we'll lose formation integrity in 2 hours." The mathematics were becoming impossible. Simple arithmetic showed that her fleet could not maintain protective coverage long enough to get the civilians to safety. And surrendering was not an option. The Scarran didn't take prisoners, they took trophies. Every person on those transports would die slowly and painfully to feed the raiders' twisted honor code. It was time for desperate measures. Communications open a general distress frequency. Broadcast on all channels, emergency band alpha. Officer Yorl's crystalline form flickered with surprise. "Ma'am, that will alert every ship in the sector, including potential hostiles." "Right. Now, I don't care if it alerts the ghost of the First Emperor," Thorne replied grimly. "We need help, and we need it now." She stepped forward to the communication station, took a deep breath, and began what she was certain would be her final. Command broadcast. This is Admiral Elena Thorne, ZDF Constellation, broadcasting on emergency frequency to all vessels in the Vega sector. We have 27 Skarn raiders engaging our convoy of civilian evacuees. We are outnumbered, outgunned, and running. Out of time. Any vessel capable of providing assistance, any vessel at all, please respond. We have 15,000 civilians who will die if we cannot maintain escort coverage for 6 more hours. Please, if anyone can hear this transmission, we need help now. The bridge fell silent except for the continuous updates from the tactical displays. Minutes passed. The Skarn continued their relentless pursuit, picking off escort vessels with surgical precision. Commander Vex was playing with them now, toying with the formation like a cat with wounded prey. Then, crackling through the static of deep space, came a response. ZDF Constellation, this is Captain Marcus Rodriguez of the independent vessel Liberty's Edge. I copy your distress call, Admiral. We're approximately 90 minutes out from your position and inbound to assist. Admiral Thorne felt her heart sink. An independent vessel meant a lone ship, probably a cargo hauler or mining support. Craft. One more ship wouldn't make a difference against 27 Skarn raiders, especially not a civilian craft with minimal weapons. Captain Rodriguez, I appreciate your courage, but this is a combat situation against heavily armed raiders. Unless your vessel is equipped for major fleet engagement, I must advise you to maintain safe distance and provide assistance with civilian evacuation instead. The response came back immediately, and there was something in the human captain's voice that made Thorne's ears prick up with interest. Confidence. Not bravado or false courage, but the quiet confidence of someone who knew exactly what they were capable of. Negative, Admiral. Liberty's Edge is fully combat certified and equipped for fleet engagement. We've got this covered. Maintain your current formation and keep those civilians safe. We'll handle the raiders. Handle the raiders? Thorne stared at her communication, station in disbelief. This human captain was talking about engaging 27 Skarn warships as if it were a minor inconvenience. Either he was completely insane, or there was something about this independent vessel that she didn't understand. Captain Rodriguez, are you reading the same tactical displays I am? You're talking about engaging an entire Skarn raiding fleet. What exactly is your ship's classification? There was a pause, and when the human captain responded, Thorne could hear something like amusement in his voice. Well, Admiral, technically speaking, Liberty's Edge is registered as a heavy cargo transport. But we prefer to think of ourselves as problem solvers, and right now you've got a problem that needs solving. A cargo transport. Thorne felt her last hope die. Whatever brave gesture this human captain was planning, it would only add one more tragedy to an already catastrophic day. But before she could respond, her sensor officer called out in a voice filled with confusion. Admiral, I'm getting some very strange readings from the approaching human vessel. The energy signature is enormous. This can't be right. What do you mean? Thorne demanded, moving to the sensor station. The sensor officer, a young Zentorian named Pax, pointed at his displays with a shaking hand. Ma'am, the approaching vessel is showing an energy output equivalent to a heavy battlecruiser, but it's also showing the mass signature of a cargo transport. Those readings are physically impossible. Admiral Thorne stared at the sensor data, her tactical mind struggling to process what she was seeing. The approaching human ship was an impossible contradiction, simultaneously massive and small, powerful and innocuous. It was as if someone had taken a battlecruiser and disguised it as a cargo hauler, but done so with technology that could fool military-grade sensors. Ma'am, called out Communications Officer Yorl, the human vessel is requesting tactical data on the Skarn formation. Send them everything we have, Thorne ordered without hesitation. If this human captain was crazy enough to engage the Skarn fleet, the least she could do was give him the best intelligence available. As the minutes ticked by, Thorne found herself watching the sensor displays with growing fascination. The human ship was approaching at a steady pace, but its energy signature kept shifting, as if different systems were coming online in sequence. And those systems were powerful. More powerful than anything she had seen outside of a major naval shipyard. "Admiral," called out her tactical officer, "the Skarn have noticed the approaching human ship. Commander Vex is detaching 6 vessels to intercept. 6 Skarn raiders, each one capable of destroying a destroyer-class vessel. Against a single cargo transport, even a heavily modified one, it should have been a massacre." But as Admiral Thorne watched her displays, she began to suspect that this battle was going to be unlike anything she had ever witnessed. "All ships maintain escort formation," she ordered. "Let's see what this human captain can do." In the depths of space, the Liberty's Edge continued her steady approach toward 27 of the most dangerous predators in the galaxy. And on her bridge, Captain Marcus Rodriguez was smiling. "When humans say we'll handle it, Captain Marcus Tank." Rodriguez stood on the bridge of the Liberty's Edge with the calm demeanor of a man who had seen the impossible and decided to make it routine. Around him, his crew worked with the silent efficiency of a symphony orchestra, each member knowing their part in the deadly ballet about to unfold. The ship hummed with barely contained power as fusion reactors pushed past their safety limits and weapon systems that shouldn't exist on a cargo hauler charged for battle. "Status report, Santos," Rodriguez called to his second-in-command. Chief Petty Officer Elena Santos, formerly of the Earth Defense Force 3rd Fleet, ran through her checklist with practiced precision. "All primary systems green, Captain. Fusion. Reactors at 115% capacity. Magnetic acceleration chambers fully charged. And the surprise package is ready for deployment. Hull integrity at maximum. Stealth systems nominal." Rodriguez nodded, his weathered face showing no emotion as he studied the tactical display. 6 Skarn raiders were breaking formation to intercept them, their bioorganic hulls pulsing with predatory hunger. Behind them, the main Skarn fleet continued to harass Admiral Thorne's escort formation, picking off ships with methodical precision. "Rico, what's our ETA to optimal engagement range?" Rodriguez asked his pilot. Lieutenant Ricardo Vega, who had flown fighters during the Proxima War, adjusted their approach vector with surgical precision. 12 minutes to optimal range, Captain. The leading Skarn vessels will intercept in 8. Perfect. Marcus, start broadcasting our surrender." The crew exchanged knowing grins as communications specialist Marcus Kim activated the external transmitters. This was an old routine for them, one they had perfected during their years. As an independent problem-solving unit, Skarn vessels, this is Captain Rodriguez of the cargo vessel Liberty's Edge. We were not aware this system was under Skarn control. We wish to avoid conflict and are prepared to surrender our cargo in exchange for safe passage. The response came back in the harsh clicking language of the Skarn, translated by their computers into standard galactic. "Human vessel, you will power down all systems and prepare for boarding. Resistance will result in your consumption." Rodriguez smiled, grimly. The Skarn were predictable in their arrogance. They saw a single cargo ship and assumed easy prey. They had no idea they were about to encounter something that didn't exist anywhere else in the galaxy. A group of human military veterans who had decided that retirement was boring. "All right, people, here we go. Santos, bring us to full combat. Status: Rico, execute evasion pattern Delta on my mark. Kim, kill the distress beacon and activate the masking field." The transformation of the Liberty's Edge was nothing short of miraculous. What had appeared to be a standard cargo hauler suddenly revealed itself as a technological marvel that pushed the boundaries of known engineering. Hidden weapon ports opened along her hull, revealing magnetic acceleration cannons that belonged on a battleship. Her fusion signature spiked as additional reactors came online, power systems that had been built into every spare cubic meter of her cargo holds. But the real surprise was yet to come. "Captain, the lead Skarn interceptor is targeting our engines," reported Weapons Specialist Dave Park, formerly of the Earth Defense Force Special Tactics Division. "Let them get close. Wait for it. Wait for it. Now, Santos, Chief Santos, activated the Liberty's Edge's most closely guarded secret. Built into her cargo bay superstructure was a complete squadron of automated fighter drones, each one equipped with AI systems that had been deemed too aggressive for standard military use. 18 sleek predators launched from concealed bays, immediately forming attack formations and engaging the surprised Skarn raiders. The effect was devastating. The Skarn had expected to board a helpless cargo vessel. Instead, they found themselves facing a coordinated assault by multiple fighter craft that moved with inhuman precision and fired weapons that could punch through their adaptive hulls. "Direct hit on the lead interceptor," reported Park. "Their biohull is trying to adapt, but our plasma charges are cycling through different frequency modulations. They can't keep up." This was human ingenuity at its finest. While other species built weapons that were powerful, humans built weapons that were smart. The Liberty's Edge carried munitions that could analyze enemy defenses in real time and adjust their characteristics accordingly. It was like fighting an opponent who could change the rules of physics on demand. "Rico, bring us around for a strafing run on the second interceptor. Santos, prepare the main battery." The Liberty's Edge executed a combat turn that should have been impossible for a vessel of her apparent size and mass. Hidden thrusters fired in precisely calculated sequences, and she spun through space like a dancer, her main guns tracking the second Skarn raider with deadly precision. The magnetic acceleration cannons fired in sequence, sending depleted uranium rounds downrange at a significant fraction of light speed. Each projectile carried the kinetic energy of a small meteor, and when they struck the Skarn vessel's hull, the results were catastrophic. The bioorganic armor, designed to adapt to energy weapons, had no defense against simple kinetic force, applied with overwhelming precision. The second interceptor cracked like an egg, its adaptive hull failing as catastrophic decompression tore it apart from the inside. Meanwhile, the automated fighters were making short work of the remaining interceptors. Each drone was equipped with tactical AI that had been designed by humans who understood that sometimes the best defense was an utterly ruthless offense. They didn't just attack the Skarn ships, they hunted them with a precision that bordered on artistic. 4 interceptors down, 2 attempting to retreat, reported Park. "Should I pursue?" "Negative. Let them run back to their friends. I want Commander Vex to see exactly what he's dealing with." On the bridge of the ZDF Constellation, Admiral Thorne watched the battle unfold with a mixture of awe and disbelief. The human cargo ship had just destroyed 6 Skarn raiders without taking a single hit, and she was beginning to understand that everything she thought she knew about human vessels was completely wrong. "Ma'am, the human ship is requesting permission to engage the main Skarn fleet," reported Communications Officer Yorl. "1 ship against 21 raiders?" Lieutenant Commander Kess asked in disbelief. Admiral Thorne studied the tactical display, watching as the Liberty's Edge recalled her fighter drones and adjusted course toward the main Skarn formation. The ship's energy signature was still climbing, as if bringing more systems online with each passing minute. "Permission granted," she said quietly. "All escort vessels, maintain formation around the civilian transports. Let's see what humanity can do when they say they'll handle it." The Liberty's Edge accelerated toward the main Skarn fleet like a predator scenting blood. On her bridge, Captain Rodriguez was in his element, coordinating with his crew as they prepared to engage odds that should have been suicidal. "Santos, what's our status on the special package?" "Ready for deployment, Captain. The fabrication bay has been working overtime." The special package was Rodriguez's masterpiece, a weapons system that existed nowhere else in the galaxy because only humans were crazy enough to build it. Hidden in the Liberty's Edge's cargo bay was a complete missile fabrication facility that could manufacture guided projectiles in real time, customizing each one for specific targets and tactical situations. "Commander Vex is hailing us," reported Kim. "Put him through." The main display filled with the nightmarish visage of a Skarn commander. Vex was larger than most of his species, his chitinous exoskeleton scarred from countless battles. His mandibles clicked with barely contained rage as he spoke. "Human vessel, you have destroyed 6 of my ships. This will not go unanswered. Surrender now and I will grant you the honor of single combat before you die." Rodriguez smiled, and there was something in that expression that made even Admiral Thorne, watching from her own bridge, feel a chill. "Commander Vex, I appreciate the offer, but I'm afraid we're going to have to decline. You see, we've got 15,000 civilians to protect, and frankly, you're in our way. Your arrogance will be your death, human. 21 ships against 1, even your trickery cannot overcome such odds. You know what, Commander? You're probably right. 21 against 1 isn't fair. Rodriguez paused, and his smile grew wider. Santos, release the wolves. What happened next would be talked about in military academies for generations. The Liberty's Edge didn't just launch fighters, she launched an entire automated fleet. 72 combat drones erupted from concealed bays throughout her hull, each one a masterpiece of human engineering and artificial intelligence. They moved like a swarm of mechanical locusts, coordinating their attacks with inhuman precision and adapting their tactics in real time. But the real surprise came when the drones began to split apart, each one releasing smaller micro-drones that attacked the Scaran ships at the molecular level, disrupting their bioorganic hulls and preventing them from adapting to the assault. The battle that followed was less a fight and more a demonstration. The Scaran raiders, for all their adaptive technology and tactical experience, had never faced an opponent that could think faster than they could adapt. The human drones didn't just attack, they evolved, learning from each engagement and sharing their knowledge instantaneously across the entire swarm. Within 30 minutes, the once mighty Scaran raiding fleet was reduced to debris and fleeing survivors. Commander Vex's flagship, the Bone Render, limped away with critical damage to its biohull, its adaptive systems overwhelmed by weapons that changed faster than they could compensate. As the last of the Scaran ships disappeared into hyperspace, Captain Rodriguez opened a channel to Admiral Thorne. ZDF Constellation. This is Liberty's Edge. Sector is clear. Your civilians are safe to proceed to the jump point. Admiral Thorne stared at the tactical display, where a single human vessel sat surrounded by the debris of what had been the most feared raiding fleet in the sector. Finally, she found her voice. Captain Rodriguez, I don't understand. How is this possible? Your ship, those weapons, that coordinated assault, nothing in our databases suggests human vessels are capable of this kind of combat effectiveness. Rodriguez's reply came back with the quiet pride of a man who had just proven that humanity deserved its place among the stars. Admiral, with respect, your databases are probably based on our official military vessels. The Liberty's Edge isn't military, she's independent. And when humans go independent, we tend to get creative. As the civilian convoy safely reached the jump point and began their journey to Sanctuary, Admiral Thorne reflected on what she had witnessed. Humanity, she realized, didn't just build ships or weapons or defense systems. They built solutions to problems that other species considered impossible. And sometimes when an admiral in desperate need called for help, they built miracles.